You're listening to the Back Porch Talk podcast. Danny and Jason had many discussions and debates on the back porch while making pivotal investment moves with assets. That's right, with trading cards. They welcome you to the back porch and right into those discussions about current sports news with a fresh and unique twist. So come on and join us. Welcome to the Back Porch Talk podcast. I'm your coach, Jason.
This is your coach, Danny.
Fans, we got a full show for you today. Going right into the NBA Finals. Then some interesting breaking news for golf fans. But first, Danny, right into the NBA Finals and where the Miami Heat pulls this out. Game 2, 111-108 against the Denver Nuggets. Like I said, Danny, I was looking at either a sweep or 5 games. I may have to adjust my thinking here, my prediction. I'm leaning towards 6 games. Still Denver. But who knows, man? Can Miami pull this out? I mean, Eric Spoelstra came in with an excellent strategy, coaching strategy, by actually starting Kevin Love. Kevin Love actually has 6 points, 10 rebounds, 2 steals and assists. But I think it was just more so his presence in his girth and the fact that he's a little bit taller here. Gabe Vincent, man, just had a game for the ages, 23 points for him, and he was just gunning for it, man. Sirius finally woke up. He started to really play here, sank some shots, 14 points, 4 for 10 from the three-point line. Butler still 21 points, 7 for 19 from the field, a pedestrian game, in my opinion, for him. Nonetheless, he actually guarded Jamal Murray, allowed for Kevin Love to come in and do what he does. Bam Adebayo had 21 points, 9 rebounds. Man, what an effort by the Miami Heat. Duncan Robinson was hot in the fourth quarter. Danny. So this is a good collective team win by the Miami Heat. But I have to say this, though, Danny. I think the strategy was for Jokic to go ahead and get his. He had 41 points, but he only had 4 assists. I think that's where Eric Spoelstra decided, okay, let's allow him to score, but passing to get everybody else involved, let's go ahead and keep that to a minimum. And so 41 points by Jokic, and then 18 by Jamal Murray, and to round out 12 points for Aaron Gordon, round out that starting crew in terms of double digits. Danny, I think what we're going to see here in Game 3 is true grit here by the Miami Heat. I think they are confident. I think we're going to get some kind of game out of Jimmy Butler that is going to help keep the Miami Heat in the game. I don't see any type of blowout either way down in Miami for both games. So we'll see. What say you about this Game 2 in the NBA Finals?
One key, Jason, they hit shots. Miami Heat made their shots. First game, the guys you mentioned were off. And a part of it, I think, was coming off that hard series with Boston. They didn't have their legs. You got the altitude. Just adjusting to all those different factors. It's the finals, so nerves. They got comfortable in the second game. And it was one of those things where it's confidence, too, where Coach Spo has confidence in them to just let it ride. It wasn't like they're hesitating either. Like Strus in the first quarter, it wasn't like he was hesitating, even though he was broke as all get out in the first game. He was letting it go, and he was making them. And so it snowballed to the other players that in order for Miami to pull this off, they need them to have those type of games. Bam Adebayo is the key right now in this series, man, because he's the one going at Jokic down low, because Jokic isn't the greatest defender. So if they can expose him on the defensive end, that helps Miami's chances. I look at Game 3, what adjustments are going to be made from the Denver side of the ball. Aaron Gordon and Michael Porter Jr. have to show up in order for Denver to win. there's no reason for those two to not be dominating in this series with their height and athleticism. They have to bring it in game three to push Denver over the top. And then Miami being at home and Tyler Hero, still waiting to see the news if he's going to suit up for game three. I know they're projecting him to possibly suit up in game three, but I have not seen any news yet on Tyler Hero and what they plan to do there. I was happy to see a split because that means there's going to be at least another game. It won't be a sweep. And it's heading back to Miami. So we'll see what happens down in Miami.
Did you go ahead and play Tyler Hero, Danny? I wouldn't start him, but do you play him in to any degree?
It's tough, man. It's one of those things with superstition. I don't know if people are superstitious or anything like that, but you've been rolling with the same crew without him, and you just don't want to mess up any type of flow. But at the same time, he's someone who can score, who can handle the ball, and he could take some attention away from like a Bam or a Jimmy Butler because you got to respect his shot and his handle. I think you ease him in just to see what he has, and if he just doesn't have it, then he sits on the bench. But you just don't want him to take minutes away from the guys that have been playing and playing well and have gotten them to this point. I just don't think that you play him a lot just to see what he has and not mess up the flow of the team.
Let me ask Danny, as we are talking about these Miami Heat, who've gone through the Eastern Conference, fashioned by many outside the state of Florida. Let me just ask, does this win by the Miami Heat in game two, does this change your prediction?
No.
So you predicted, if I recall correctly, you had Denver in 6.
Yes, I had Denver in 6.
Okay. And I think it changes my prediction a little bit here. Like I said at the onset, I want to say Miami, by winning game 2, may win another game. Puts me at game 6. And this year, again, I had them as sweep for at most 5 games. So by them winning, it gives them probably 6.
And you got to think of too, Jay, in that game too, Denver almost still pulled that game out.
It sure did.
Jamal Murray was
right
there, man, for making that 3-pointer and pushing it to OT and actually coming back on Miami's 12 when they had a 12-point lead in the fourth quarter. So there's something to be said for that. And like I said, Aaron Gordon and Michael Porter Jr., KCP even, man, they had nothing in that game. So I'm looking for them to step it up a little bit in a very competitive game down in Miami.
Yeah, we'll see with what Coach Mike Malone indicated at the post-game presser, basically really taking shots at his team for the lack of defense. Especially when individuals are not getting touches on offense, that they need to play defense. And so we'll see if that message resonates to those players and all, i.e. probably Michael Porter Jr. and Aaron Gordon. I think it will. They're too close to a championship, to their goal, and for them to not listen to their coach in every aspect at this point. So I think what Mike Malone has done and said is going to resonate with them. But I also think that what Spoelstra has done and has said will resonate with his Miami Heat. This is going to be interesting. I think this is going to be really a good game 3, a good amount of coaching. I think you're going to see a lot of adjustments being made throughout the game, quite frankly. I love how Spoelstra has come out and pushed different defenses at Denver, keeping Denver on their heels and all. I think this is going to be really a coaching exhibition in game 3. So we'll see what happens.
And Jason, this goes back to the fact of Denver's never been here before. Miami has. So a lot of the expectations on a Michael Porter Jr., on an Aaron Gordon, on a KCP these are big expectations, man,
Mhm.
and they've never been here before. This is where Miami can really take advantage of them with their experience and knowing how to fight these games out. It's a mental game more than a physical game, I think, at this
Mhm.
point.
And so, breaking news, Danny, in the golf world, and where the PGA Tour has agreed, that's right, they have agreed to merge with the Saudi-backed rival Live Golf, and where one of the interesting things about this announcement by the commissioner was that it was done on CNBC, not ESPN, not the Golf Channel, but it was done by Commissioner Jay Monahan on CNBC. And another thing that was interesting is that a lot of the top PGA Tour golfers didn't even know about this. It took them all by surprise, Danny. They were finding out just like how we found out, whether it's through social media or CNBC or ESPN. Just how we rather get news. That's how they got this news. And this is really interesting. And we had a feeling that with Live Golf actually being who they are, Saudi backed, very rich, coaching top golfers from the PGA Tour, for them to actually come on to the Live Golf and bank, make buku dollars. And we felt that it was just a matter of time that something like this was going to happen. And so here it is, about 2 years after Live Golf, really shakes up the golf world. And man, here they are emerging. I also had a feeling this was going to happen, though, Danny, when the PGA Tour uh, magically found some additional money to give to their PGA Tour members or to sweeten the pot, the prize winning of golf tournaments. For so long, you have PGA Tour members really go at Live Golf members because when you think about Live Golf, they're Saudi backed. They have the Public Investment Fund or the PIF. I wonder how this is going to increase the fan base here in America. But I will say this may increase the fan base across the world. This is now becoming more of a global league.
Mm-hmm.
And Live Golf, Saudi Arabia back Live Golf, they're looking to invest billions of dollars of new capital into this new now for-profit organization, in where the PGA Tour was a nonprofit organization. So go figure with that. So Danny, this is going to be something to continue to watch here. I was shocked, but I wasn't shocked. I was shocked that it happened this all of a matter of fact way that it did. But I was shocked that none of the tour members knew that this was going to be announced. There was supposed to be a meeting with the PGA Tour members because they're playing in Canada. Ironically enough, those who are not present at that golf tournament has requested to do a Zoom. That request has been denied, according to sources. This is probably not how to tell your PGA Tour members or the participants in your league how to handle the situation. But it seemed like it was something kind of quick that came on. And Danny, I'll just say this: this is something that was bound to happen when you have that amount of money involved here, where you can play less rounds of golf in a tournament, 3 rounds as opposed to 4 rounds in a golf tournament. My understanding with Live Golf, and you have a little bit more rest. It was a matter of time. They could play on teams. It's almost like the ABA versus NBA situation, Danny. And where Live Golf is kind of like the ABA, they have all these new bells and whistles and everything, and where the NBA is kind of like the PGA Tour, and all, in my opinion. But we'll see what happens. What say you about this new merger?
Well, Jason, I think one other thing of note is all the litigation that has been going on between the two entities that will come to an end. So that part of it will go away. And for me, when you watch the tournaments, it was that us versus them thing going on, which I thought was actually pretty cool because it actually pushed the competition a little bit. And I know the golfers are always saying the right things about, oh, it's not us versus them and all that good stuff, but it was. I'm curious to see too how this changes the pay structure for the actual PGA tour members, because the guys that went to LIV, they got that big money.
They got paid.
Then the PGA, for this to happen, and the PGA tour members to say, did I miss a big key opportunity from a salary perspective?
Hell yeah, they did.
And that's why I'm curious how this is all going to play out.
Mm-hmm.
And will there be some type of retro active or something going forward for the PGA tour members from a salary perspective, or how this will all work? So like you said, it's fresh news. There are a lot of details we have to sift out along with others to see exactly how this will go forward with this merger. But it's one of those things where they're like battling. Now we're all kumbaya. And we're all in, all one. That it's just going to be strange, I think, for a little bit too, until this is all even once it's settled and people kind of know the way. I still think it's going to be some saltiness about the guys that got that initial money versus the guys that did not get that money and did not take that chance to go play with LIV Golf. So more to come on this, but definitely something that caught me off guard today.
Thank you for joining us at Back Porch Talk Podcast. You can also join us on Twitter by tweeting us at @back_podcast. For more information, you can go to our website, which is backporchtalkpodcast.com. You can also email us at backporchtalkpodcast@gmail.com. Again, thank you for joining us, and remember that there's enough hate in the world, so go ahead and spread a little love.